You wake up every morning telling yourself today's going to be different. Today, you're going to be patient. You're going to stay calm. You're going to handle the hard moments the way you always picture yourself handling them. And then the morning actually happens. Someone won't put their shoes on. Someone's crying over toast. Someone's doing the exact thing you asked them to stop doing. And you've asked 3 times, and you can feel it rising. And then you snap. And then comes the guilt. If that cycle is familiar, the snapping, the guilt, the promise to do better, and then doing it again, this video is for you. I'm going to cover 3 things today. Why that cycle keeps happening even when you're genuinely trying. And I'll give you 3 specific reasons, at least one of which is going to surprise you. One question that most parents never think to ask that changes everything about how you respond in the hard moment. And a named practical tool that you can use the next time you feel yourself about to lose it. Let's get into it. I want to name what this actually feels like, not the surface version, but the real one. There's the obvious part, the daily battles, morning, bedtime, homework, screens, siblings. There's the meltdowns at school pickup when every other parent seems to be having a completely normal afternoon. But underneath that, there's something harder to say out loud. It's the gap between the parent you see yourself being, the one who stays calm, who says the right thing, who handles it, and who you actually are at the end of a long day when your child is pushing every button that you have. And underneath that gap, for most parents, there's a question. They don't usually say it out loud. They tend to show up around 3 a.m. It goes, am I actually damaging my kid? I want to name that directly because if you're carrying it, I don't want you to carry it alone. That fear is not evidence of bad parenting. It's evidence that you love your child and you're paying attention. It is not, however, evidence of the truth. Now, drop a little, yep, that's me in the comments if you've had that thought. And by the end of this video, I think you're going to understand why. Most parents don't want a perfect kid or a silent house. What they actually want is to get through a hard moment without losing themselves, to feel like they know what they're doing, not figuring it out under fire every single time, to go to bed and think, I showed up today, not perfectly, but well. And the deeper thing, the one most parents are almost afraid to hope for, is to be the safe person, the one that their child turns to when something goes wrong, not the authoritarian figure they're managing, the safe person. 20 years from now, how will your child remember you? Not the highlight reel, the everyday version, the one who handled the hard moments. That's what's at stake, and that's why this cycle matters. Now, this isn't out of reach, but getting there requires understanding something that most parenting advice never explains. 3 reasons this keeps happening. Reason 1, no one taught you. Most of us learn to parent by being parented. We absorbed a model without anyone ever asking if it was the model we wanted. If your home growing up had a lot of yelling or a lot of silence or a lot of unpredictability, that's already loaded. It's the default. And under stress, we run on default. You're not failing. You're running on programming that no one ever asked you to update. And that's fixable. Reason 2, raising your voice actually works in the short term. And that's the problem. This is the surprising one. When you get really firm or raise your voice and your child stops the behavior, your brain gets a reward signal. That's called negative reinforcement. You did something, the unpleasant thing stopped, and your brain logged it. That worked. Your brain says we should do that again. This is why snapping is so hard to stop, even when you hate it. It's not a weakness. Your brain is doing exactly what brains do, repeating what worked. The cost is the relationship. And that's where the cycle gets painful. Did that one surprise you? Let me know in the comments. Reason 3, you're managing behavior that you don't fully understand yet. Most parenting advice is about what to do in the moment. But here's the problem. By the time the moment has arrived, you're already reactive. And doing that calm, intentional thing in that state is genuinely hard. What changes is an understanding before the moment of what is developmentally happening for your child, what their brain is and is not actually capable at that age. So a 3-year-old screaming because their toast is the wrong shape is not being manipulative. Their brain genuinely cannot regulate that frustration yet. When you know that, when you really know it, you stop taking the behavior personally. And when you stop taking it personally, the reaction just doesn't come that same way. The answer most people expect: take a breath, count to 10, try harder next time. Here's what's actually counterintuitive: the fix isn't faster, it's more deliberate. And that feels backwards in the middle of a meltdown, when faster seems like the only option. What I teach and what I use myself with my own 4 kids is 3 questions. I call them 3 universal questions. They apply to every behavior, at every age, in every hard moment. Question 1: why did they do that? Not what's wrong with them. Why developmentally did that just happen? Is this age appropriate? Are they tired, hungry, overwhelmed? Is this a skill they don't have yet? When you ask that first, the behavior stops being a personal offense. It becomes information, and information is something that you can work with. Question 2: how am I going to respond? Not react, respond. The difference is that a response is chosen, a reaction just happens. This question creates a pause that isn't passive. You're making a decision about who you want to be before you act. Now, that's the difference between a parent who's in control of the moment and one who's being controlled by it. Question 3: what will they learn from how I respond? Every response teaches something. The question is, what do you want them to learn? When you hold that question, even for a second, it reorients your response around the long game, not just stopping the behavior right now, building something: the relationship, the trust. These 3 questions take 10 seconds. They work at 7 a.m., school pickups, 8 p.m., when everybody's exhausted. They take practice. They won't feel natural at first, but they're the beginning of a different way of parenting. Now, let me come back to where we started. You wake up every morning telling yourself today's going to be different, and it keeps not being different. Not because you don't care enough, but because you're running on default in a system that's reactive without a complete framework to fall back on. The 3 questions I just gave you are the beginning of that framework, not the whole thing, the beginning. If you want the rest of it, I'm hosting a free workshop on how to get your kids to listen and cooperate without yelling or damaging your relationship. I walk through the complete system, the 5 C's to amazing parenting, all 5 in sequence, with exactly how to apply each one in your actual home. The link is in the description below. It's free, and it's the same framework I teach inside my paid program. I'll see you there.